dilute.
What demographic do you find, like, with your customer base? Like, what age group are we looking at?
Nowadays, it's a lot older. It's people in retirement, the 30 to 65 and up. My favorite conversations are with old ladies who walk in and need to be shown how to use a vaporizer.
Right.
It's a great experience. It's a great interaction, and it's very much not the stereotypical stoner or whatever it is they're afraid that the streets are going to be filled with if they allow cannabis retailers. But I mean, as far as my staff is all of a certain age group. It's an age group that tends to move towards the cities.
Yeah.
So if they allowed cannabis retail, not only would we not have vacant space, we'd have young people actually staying in the communities, because it's not just a matter of selling weed. There's a lot more to it. There's the pipes, which are made locally.
Export.
Not even. We don't need to import pipes anymore because there's so many glass blowers coming out of Sheridan, talented kids making products. So it's an opportunity for manufacturing to boom in a very low impact way. It's not like they're polluting.
Right.
As opposed to making it a big pharma. Like, why don't we tap into smaller markets, giving other people an opportunity to delve into a new avenue, but they're
so
trying to keep their reins on it because they're not quite sure where it's gonna go.
I mean, you can't even recycle the packaging because they think it's filled with dangerous drugs.
My biggest issue is the recycling. It hurts my heart because I'm a green girl, like right to the core, and I'm like all this packaging.
And most that we know that smoke are in that sort of frame space, right?
Yeah.
It's
so true.
The classic hippie, right?
Yeah.
They're the first
I
ones
was
to
born in the
recycle.
wrong era. That's what I always say.
Right? It is frustrating for us to see the retail, and to your point on retail in our downtown, we do have the lowest vacancy rate in Milton, so we're actually doing pretty good for the region. But we have a vibrant downtown, which a lot of people, everybody goes, oh, our downtown is failing. I drive down at 8 o'clock when most of Milton is in Milton. And
yes,
it is,
the
patios are always full, the restaurants are full. Some of the other retail shops do close a little early, but they're missing out on an opportunity.
That's true.
Right.
But to stop an opportunity for illegal retail, because we legalized it, why don't we have that opportunity here in town? Because you hit the nail on the head. If I'm going to go out and find, I think I hit my mic. If I'm going to go out now and find and go to a shop to purchase, I now have to leave Milton.
Right.
Now, I don't really, because I can buy, get it online. Everybody knows a friend, or there's an app for that. But if I wanted to go out and see all of the different types of bongs and see what I could get into, see the vaporizers and that, I have to leave. Now I'm getting in the car, I'm leaving town. I have to go to the nearest location where I can go to a retail space, go in, hang out, see what I've got, and now you know what?
And you're going to eat there, and you're going to shop there while you're there. Maybe I'm going to hang out for a bit.
Yeah, because you're already down there.
There's a store that I didn't see before, and
that's the problem.
I'm hungry now, and I want to stay in a restaurant, right? Because I can't,
Well, and it's funny you should mention that. I have the actual quote here, and this is going back when they turned it down for Milton. And one of the quotes was, "We're not losing by waiting."
Yeah.
No, we are. They don't get that.
Yes.
It's like you are losing by waiting. They're going downtown or they're going somewhere else and they're spending their money there on other things.
Yep.
So by saying, we'll just wait and see what happens, it'll be done. It'll be
It's
done
only
because
Milton
everybody's
people
going to
that
know
really
the best
lose
places
because they
to
lose
go.
the opportunity to be first at the market, you know?
And saying that, looking at it from the other side, you're a parent. So do you hear a lot of parents freaking out, I don't want my kids exposed? And that's the other lie too. The kids know. They knew when I was a kid, and I'm 50. Nothing's changed.
Their accessibility hasn't changed. It's you can't go into a shop unless you show ID. So it's just like when you purchase a pack of smokes, but no one's gonna stop your older brother. Just like back when you wanted beer, you went to your older sibling or a good friend.
Liquor cabinet. Just move that line down, right? Take that tape off, move the line down. Yeah, exactly. Fill it up with some water.
Precisely. That to me is actually, I think, one of the dumbest arguments.
Yeah, it's not a good argument.
I think they're creating a really dangerous situation with the way they're demonizing weed. I should have brought props. You got the packaging with the poison symbols and all these warnings. And then you've got a Mickey of Jack Daniels with none of that.
Yes.
Kids in 10 years are going to grow up thinking that the booze is safe, that's what daddy drinks, but the weed is dangerous.
I think the bigger problem
Don't take
is
my booze.
Right, yeah.
I think the bigger problem right now is all the opioids out there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a
Scary.
real problem. Like they just
Super.
nailed this guy the other day. I have it here. Lawrence Dowd III. He already sounds like a douchebag. Is the former CEO of Rochester Drug Cooperative and first executive of a major drug distribution company, and he's been hit with criminal charges. Finally, because of opioids,
Yeah.
and they actually use the same law that they use for trafficking. So this guy is a drug pusher. This
Yeah.
guy is a drug dealer and he's a drug pusher. But the problem is they make $1 billion in revenue a year and they were nailed with $20 million.
Yeah.
That's $20 to us.
Yeah.
That's nothing. They should nail these guys for the amount of cost it's costing the healthcare system and the drain that it's putting on it. But they're all doing it.
Yep.
And we've known this for years. Like, where are these people getting synthetic drugs? This is synthetic stuff. This isn't grown
I'll tell
on
you
a
where they're
plant.
getting it. This is going to really piss you off. I work with a couple of advocacy groups, and one of those individuals told me recently that there's an uptick in opioids since legal weed became available, because you can't get your weed covered by OHIP, but they'll still cover the opiates. So people are getting prescriptions for opiates and selling it and buying weed.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
see.
not the same thing, like this whole smoking of weed thing too. I think people have the wrong idea. There's like this whole CBD thing as well,
There
which
is, yeah.
really helps. And I think you were saying you have chronic pain.
Well,
right?
it does tap into something I'm currently trying for something new. But if we want to talk about prescription medicine, quickly, there is a Netflix TV show, Take Your Pills.
Right.
But it's going to tapping into a subject of ADHD or ADD. I am the poster child. Mine is the hyper. I do have it in my brain, but I don't necessarily have it in my physical body.
Right.
So I was diagnosed super young. And had I been more educated about the prescriptions, about, what I was putting into my body that was totally being freely given to me, which is an amphetamine. It's given to children like, here you go, have this, but then they wonder why they're creating like addicts in adults. So I did some research when I was younger. And I took myself off of the medication I was taking, which was Ritalin at the time.
Wow.
I took myself off and I started self-medicating. That's what they would call it. I would call it just balancing out my brain. My brain's a little different than everybody else's or a neurotypical brain. For me, I tapped into pot because it made my brain sort of balance out. Literally, you hear kids talk about, I took the test and it was so much better because I smoked up before it. For me, it was reality. For me, I studied harder, and for some reason, I was able to focus more. So it was more practical, college and stuff like that when I was learning and getting my education. I mean, now it helps me sleep.
Oh, for sure.
But the CBD oil for sure is also sort of a new thing for me. It's just something I've started since it was legalized.
Right.
And it definitely is helpful for pain. And there is no
Yeah.
high
And
with
I was
that
going
for
to say
me.
that's where there's no high, and you're not.
The other,
smoking
yes, but
anything.
not
You're
the
taking
CBD oil.
drugs.
Yeah.
I mean that's a whole industry that they really haven't looked at.
Yeah.
And they know about it, but they haven't really tapped into it. They're starting to get into hemp pants now. Apparently,
Yes.
Levi's has jumped right on the bandwagon. Now they're going to be doing hemp pants because it's becoming less of a taboo.
Yeah.
But when you start actually looking at going green, and I use that term loosely, I know it's a green plant, but going green it is also about looking at the products that we currently use and how much it takes to manufacture them.
Yeah.
So they had this breakdown of how much water it takes to actually manufacture cotton and to naturalize it, and then you look at hemp and it's like 1/40th. And those are all important things as we get older, going, our water tables are diminishing in certain places. We got to be careful of that. Renewables, hemp is renewable.
Super conscientious.
You
That's
can make
awesome.
plastic out of hemp too.
Yeah, you can.
There's a lot of products out there.
It is like there is the
Disposable
classic.
cutlery.
It's a wonder plant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like everything 100 years ago was made from hemp, right? We circumnavigated the globe with using hemp
Hemp ropes.
sails,
Smoke a
and
rope.
ropes,
That's where
right?
that old saying came from.
So
it's true.
Like
Yeah.
there's so much that we don't know, and
Yeah.
it is kind of frustrating when you look at the history and you look at everything that's gone on, that it was so demonized, and now we're sort of getting it back out.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff that came out, like, you know, in the 50s and 60s and 70s about, you know, smoking and everything, like marijuana, and, you know, it really, you know, that's the gateway drug that'll get you into everything else. And it's like,
You're definitely going to
no,
try.
you kind of don't want to do anything else. When you're like, you know,
They're
that
different,
classic-
totally different conversations.
Now looking at it from the other side, like it's like anything else. A drug is bad for you. You got to, as adults, we can talk about that. And
Yeah.
I can see where it's a problem for kids jumping
Yep.
into it because your brain isn't developed.
Yep.
But you know, the same thing goes for alcohol. The same thing goes for smoking. So when you see a kid doing it, you got to say something, or you have to educate them. What I liked is every year the counselors go to what's called AMO, and that's the Associations of Municipalities of Ontario. And the Ontario location decided to have a big conference on cannabis. And this is before it was legalized. This is when they were tinkering with the idea. They weren't 100% sure of it. And they had someone from the governor's office in Denver, Colorado. And they gave a great presentation to thousands, like that place was packed, it was like a stadium, to thousands of people just saying, here's all the issues that we didn't think about. You can follow our model. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. One thing that they were honest about that they didn't think about was edibles. So they had no restriction on edibles and the amount of THC that was in those edibles.
Yes.
And those are important things to go, wow, we really screwed up here, because kids started getting a lot of edibles and not smoking up. It's like, I don't smell any weed, anything different. Well, that's because they're all eating it, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to like rein that monkey in and say, okay, we have to put serious restrictions on this, but it's like any other controlled substance, in my opinion. Like, I don't really see a big deal about it, but there's some people that will swear up and down that, you know, this is the worst thing ever, but it's no different than anything else.
It's not right for everyone. I don't, and I think that that's sort of, just on your shoulder there, bud.
Thank you.
Yep. But I don't think it's necessarily everybody's, you know, Band-Aid.
Right.
If some people choose it to do it recreationally and to get high, some people do it for medicine, some people do it for social situations, whatever the case may be. But it's not right for everyone. So I think that if you're not utilizing it in the right way, maybe perhaps setting a good example. I have children myself, so I figure I need to educate them properly, but at the right time, you know, and let them know what their options are. Don't be an ostrich in the sand. Educate yourself, and it's my job to educate you as well. Not just don't smoke.
And that's the worst situation that, like, as you know, any parent's going to be facing. And anything that we do, whether it's a regulated or unregulated device or substance or whatever, it's education, communication, making sure people understand what's going on and the reasons why, and getting the right information out to the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
That is so